Hello everyone and welcome to the 2022 Northwoods Open presented by Innova Champion Disc. We're at Sandy Point Resort and Disc Golf Ranch in northern Wisconsin, and we've got our lead card action. These guys have been battling through the front half of the course. We have 27 total holes, which we're through 14 of them. So we're heading into hole number 15. We're going to start off with a par 4, the longest hole on the course. And we're going to then crown our champion here at the Northwoods Open. 572 feet, par 4. Here's Andy Kenny. May go without saying that no sound is good sound out here on the Sandy Point Resort's course. And kicks out into the fairway. That's one of the best kicks you could possibly ask for, because oftentimes you hit that left side, kicks hard left, and you're giving up a stroke or two just to get back out. Put yourself in good position with a good drive. So here, Michael Wright pushing up that right side. This is Matt. Matt sits 1 under through the front half. Michael's 1 under. Andy is 5 under. And Ross is 3 under. And Ross take advantage of the incredibly fortunate kick. And a near perfect drive would land just about where he is now. So he does have a look to get up and down and save the par. Mike asking for that to push to the right after the forehand. Doesn't quite hook up. Good positioning here for Andy. Might be a birdie in store. This is going to play as one of the more difficult holes on the course relative to par. Almost puts it into the short pin. They're not playing to the Mach 3s. They're instead playing to the Innova disc catchers here for this layout. This is what's called the Walleye Blue layout.
Nice. Hunter. Cool. Thank you.
Hole 15, average 4.18, which actually is better than I was expecting to see. Still came in as basically the 6th or 7th most difficult on the course. About 45, maybe 50 feet between these two pin positions. Matt doesn't find the clean line. Great birdie by Andy. Six of them on the day. Matt is in for his par. We see Mike tap in for his. So for the card to play this 1 under is still pretty impressive. This coverage brought to us by my Patreon account. Thank you guys so much for the support over on Patreon. It was not necessarily a contracted event as much as it was bonus coverage that I wanted to make sure we could get documented and bring to the world one of my favorite places. Ross leaking left side. You need to throw this essentially dead straight. It goes downhill and then finishes to the right. But even if you were to throw it dead straight and get near the short pin, you'd at least have a 40 or 50 foot look at the long pin. If you've got a solid forehand like Mike, and you can beat it all. No, that's going to be left side. I was going to say, if you can beat all of those trees and then have it push back to the right, you're in great position. A nasty kick could put you out of bounds into the road as well, though. That's something to consider. That's going to be short and on the right side for Matt. Just 359 feet. Fourth most difficult hole on the course. Playing near a half stroke over par at 3.45. Still work to do. Now, Matt on the short right side, just looking for an opening and doesn't quite get it. So he's short of the short pin, still leaving him at least 50, maybe even 65 or 70 feet. Work left for Ross. Now Matt has this downhill. And you got to be careful here, because running at that and not connecting means you're going to go at least 30, maybe even 40 or 50 feet, which will bring you all the way to the next tee. Ross, try and save par. See the undulation, the hard dirt pan, the compact soil and sand and everything else up here. All part of the challenge if you're not connecting, but what a par save. Wow, just 4 birdies on the day. That's going to be a par there for Andy, but 4 birdies on the day. So certainly a bonus as that grabs right side chain and in for Mike. We move on to short but sweet, hole 17, 190 feet. Couple of different lanes to go with here. If you've got the forehand or the gentle turnover, that is a great shot coming in from Michael. You can also go up the right side gap if you've got pretty much a straight shot that finishes to the left. Short for Ross. Can Matt get something going? And a late tree in the roll. Oh no. It continued to roll all the way down here. So after being inside 20 feet, it then rolls to almost 100 feet away. Not going well for Matt. Andy keep the putter going. The answer is yes. He moves to 7 under, and he's leaving the rest of the lead card behind here. Matt taps in for par. Ross is 2 under for the round. And Mike is just 1 under at the moment. So Andy trying to run away with a win here. Bring Mike to 2 under for the round. They move over. Hole 18, 253 feet. It's easy to get sucked into this one. It feels like it's a hard hyzer, and although it does fade right to left, and that's the shape you're looking for, it's easy to over-exaggerate it. And that's what I mean by getting sucked in. And the next thing you know, you're bringing the left side trees into play. Or you could do exactly what we see by Mike here. Hanging it out wide enough, missing all the trees. Here, this is pulled in to the left, and that's going to be trouble. If you get caught up there, at best you're looking at a long putt for birdie. If you even have that. Oh, and lucky he is to get that far. He was calling it for it to get lucky, and he's going to need all of that to push through and even have a chance at a look. So Andy will not birdie. He's looking at a par. Now a long look here for Ross. What a shot. The fact that Matt has this look for birdie after coming in that tight on the left side, and he makes it pay off. What a shot. Maybe making up for the bad break he got on the previous hole. That nasty roll away. (13) plays, or excuse me, 18 that is, plays right in the middle, so to speak, in terms of difficulty. Average 2.72. Michael doing what he can to lower that average. What about the middle difficulty on this 27-hole course? Big shout out to our friends at Double G Jerky who are now expanding into other snacks. Make sure you check them out at doublegjerky.com. Also, leave me some comments. I need you to like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Leave me some comments about if or when you're coming up to Sandy Point to play some disc golf. That's what I need to know. Northern Wisconsin. I'll randomly pull from one of those comments and we'll send out some free beef jerky. (19). You're looking for a straight shot that just has a left finish, and it's easy to get aggressive, throw a little too hard, and that's when you pull something to this right side or even short left side. All about hitting the fairway here, and then missing a few of the late final trees that guard the basket. And we see a couple of well overcooked drives here, just putting too much on them, pulling them to the right. And we're going into scramble mode and then some. The overhand catches another tree. Trees galore out here at Sandy Point. Some days you're missing them and like they're not even there, and other days you seem to find every one of them. That's a good forehand approach there by Matt. Matt finished, I believe, 5th in the 2021 NADGT Championship. Now he saw some coverage there. Remember talking about him during that down in Texas. Andy's long look catches a guardian tree. Just to the left of where you're seeing Mike, that's actually the tee pad for hole number 16 off in that general area. So it's incredible as he draws metal. It's incredible how this course kind of just shapes and weaves and moves throughout this unbelievable property up here at Sandy Point. And Ross is short. If we were to have a clinic out here put on by our lead card, I would not bring them to hole 19. I guess is the way I would word that. I'd take them to a different hole. We've seen some star frames. Not 19, though. And I say this knowing full well I have bogeyed every hole on this course. So let me be very clear. I understand you can come out here and birdie every single hole on this course, and I understand it's just as easy to bogey. So don't think that's coming from a place of disrespect in any way whatsoever. As I was coming up here as a high schooler playing in some of my first ever disc golf tournaments. Back in my day, those late 90s, mid 90s. Mike, hole 20, 322 feet. Easily my least favorite hole on the course. Great hole, just my least favorite because I do not have a forehand. And if Mike can miss everything, he's at least driven to the short pin. So that'll give him a long look at the long pin. Your best opportunity for birdie here is a forehand. I expect to see 4 of them on this card. And depending on how much that was able to fight back, it may have caught up by a late tree. There's, oh, what a terrible root or stick or stump or something. I don't think the worst game plan here is to try and park the short pin and then make a putt to the long basket. I think that's the game plan here. I know it is for me. Wow, draws metal. Andy's putter doing some work here today. Not enough turn there for Ross. That's what he says out of his hand. Mike, who's just about parallel with the short pin. Grabs the tree, so now making up for it with the par. Hole 20 averaged 3.14. And what a birdie by Matt. Now that is a textbook clinical type play there by Matt. Beautiful forehand. There's 6 birdies on this hole as well. Not birdied too often in the longer pin. Big shout out and thanks to our friends over at Sail On Enterprises. I knew they have done web work and hosting and design and help with me on websites. They also have helped out Sandy Point Resort. So reach out to Tony over at Sail On Enterprises if you need anything in that realm. Just waiting for the right line to come in. It looks like Andy may have it. Tall, stalling hyzer is the shot. The question is, can you miss all the trees? And no sound is good sound there for Ross. You have to get around the corner. You have to get to at least the short pin to have a good look at the long pin. And Matt's still not quite to where even the short pin is. So a long look for his par save. And 53 open competitors here. Earlier when I mentioned we've seen as few as 6 birdies on a given hole. Clearly a very small grouping. And Andy pushed too far, or he got a late kick that kicked him off to the right. The line looked good out of his hand, but it looks like he's going to have to settle for a par. And frustration can set in very quickly out here because, of course, if you throw a nice clean shot, you're going to have a look. And even sometimes when you don't throw a clean shot, you still may have a look for birdie. And then when your putter is not on, it feels like you're giving strokes away to the rest of the field. Very punishing bogey there for Matt. A couple of the pars. 2021, this event was taken down by Dan Schlitter. What a solid second round and just ran away with it. Dan, not here on our lead card, but now there's murmurs of him performing well as we're trying to close out these last few holes. Live scoring is obviously being looked at, and our lead card has not exactly been tearing it up. Straight shot over the car. Talked about it during the front half of all the signature and calendar type holes that you would find out here. The car hole, as it's called, on hole 22 would certainly fit into that category. Asking for a little luck. Matt 1 under, Michael 3 under, Andy 6 under, and Ross even on the round. Ross has a long look to save, or to still pick up the birdie, I should say. If you're wondering about the car, I believe the story goes that Mike Michel had bought the property a few decades ago, and simply by continuing to develop the course, also cleared out to carve out this course, which has been shaped and molded throughout the last 25, 30 years. Well, they started cleaning out this fairway, and next thing you know, they find a car out here. And it's character left in there as part of the course. Couple of solid putts. That's Andy for his par save. Mike was in for birdie a moment ago. Matt trying to save his par. Through 22 holes. There's 23 through 27 left to play. And before I even look, I'm going to claim this as probably the most difficult hole on the course, and that is short left. You need to drive it to about an 11 o'clock position at about 300 feet, and then it goes down a hill into a bowl area where the green is at just 376 feet, but navigating through the first part of this fairway while not hitting any trees and keeping it on the line that you need is so difficult. Excuse me, as well, Matt's done it perfectly. That's exactly what you want to be doing. See the short pin, which that in itself is a good drive to get to. If you're getting the short pin or possibly pushing just past it, that still gives you a long look at birdie. And that is too early of a tree. See the basket tucked down there. Now a long look just to save the par. And due to the chaos, we'll call it, and the difficulty of hole 27, which you'll see in a moment, that plays as the most difficult. Hole 23 here plays as the second most difficult hole on the course. So I stand corrected. I did forget about how easily strokes can add up on 27, but this does play as the second most difficult hole on the course. Couple of long bids. And Matt, really it doesn't seem like it'd be prime position, but you would take this any day of the week. This is a great drive to get this close. And he's not going to capitalize, but even be able to have a look at it and an opportunity for birdie is a pretty good shot. There were just 4 birdies on the round. Out of 53 people, just 4 birdies on the round. Andy will close out with the bogey. Hole 23 has claimed a couple more victims as they move on to hole number 24. 353 feet. There's a pin both to the left and to the right. We're playing to the long left side pin. That's the line. The question is, does he have the distance? I feel like that's come up just short, but that's pretty much the shot you're looking for. You want to be going dead center, right up this fairway. And then if it has a light fade or maybe even a skip to the pin, which is 25 feet off the road, you're going to be happy. And this looks great. Oh, no. Oh, that's going to be frustrating. What a good shot. Michael's getting creative to go up and over. If that continued to fade without hitting a guardian, he'll be happy with that. Hole 24 average 2.9 for our open division. Little cabbage, but he'll still have a look. And Matt just can't get it to fall. He's had a rough day out here today. Again, Matt opened on the shorter Silver Loon course with a 16 under. Today, through 24, he sits at through 23, he's sitting at 17 under overall, just 1 down. And even with the rollaway, Andy makes up for it. Great putt. Feel you, Ross. Good save there by Michael. Short left, then plays the Anheuser out and around and makes a save for the par. And Matt, who had gone deep, I thought he was short, had gone deep, doesn't convert. So we head over to hole number 25. What a fun one. 258 feet. Again, looking for that calendar shot. That would be to the left side pin. That's to the Silver Loon pin. One of the most iconic holes that you've ever seen probably in at least Wisconsin disc golf. And many of you have seen pictures. Lauren Lakeberg and thousands of others have taken pictures of the flag hole, as we call it, right behind the Disc Golf Hall of Fame. Wisconsin Disc Golf Hall of Fame, that is. Now playing to the pin on the right side, just behind the woodshed. I think there's probably a joke or a reference that could be made there, but yeah, just behind the woodshed is where we're seeing. This is a pin that's been added just in the last few years. In the way background, a few of the cabins that I mentioned earlier that can be rented. They're usually rented for 1 week time frames during the on-season. And a long bid, but doesn't get it to fall. And Andy's got to be feeling good about a 7-under effort here so far, well out in front of everyone else. We have 2 very dangerous holes to finish out on. Well, one more so than the other as he draws metal, trying to extend that lead. But we know he's looking at the scores, or at least he could be looking at the scores. The rest of the world is, knowing that we're seeing a charge coming from the chase. And they're going to take a walk over to hole 26. Hole 26. The original pin is off to the right. That's where what I feel is the more difficult pin that gets played during the opening round. And that would be an easy tap-in circle 3 or penalty 3 to the right pin, and he still has a chance to save the par to the left pin. That's where we're going to. Nice gentle hyzer. Needed to check up just short, but not too short, so you're putting directly at the water's edge. The finesse required. Oh, and this catches an early tree. And it'll be decision time. Do you lay up or do you give it a bid? Well, there's your answer. Not trying to add any more strokes to the scorecard. So Matt has this left for the par after going out of bounds. That's a good par save. Bring it in the full meter. Lake that you're seeing has been recently renamed. It was originally named Squaw Lake, I believe, in the last few years. The locals have petitioned to have it renamed. Now it is Amber Lake. Plenty of fishing, canoeing, you name it. All sorts of boating and activities out there on the lake. And full commitment. Just one hole left to play, so thankfully somebody heading in to retrieve discs. Beautiful beachfront property that they have out here. And here's the rest of the beach that you find at Sandy Point. Some of the boats that you can take out. Also the dock you can hang out from. Or you do what everyone else does, is you hang out just to the left of this fairway and you watch shots come in for the entire afternoon. You may or may not then place bids on who goes out of bounds, or place bets, I should say, on players that go out of bounds.
Come on. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on, get it. Oh!
And what a shot, chasing after the long pin. Beautiful drive by Andy, going deep of the basket. Andy trying to close out a championship here at Sandy Point Resort. Oh, and Matt, there is, what you're not seeing is the little channel of water that's directly in front of that disc. So this is the tiniest peninsula, and just behind the basket is actually a channel of water before you get to the inbounds area. And that's hung out too wide, so you're going to see a famous dock shot come in from Michael here. The dock is inbounds, so if you don't touch any land or find any inbounds over by the basket, you then have to throw from the dock, as that's your last point of being inbounds. And that really not with a chance to get inbounds anywhere, so it does go over the dock, and that's where we'll see the next throw come from. I have thrown way too many shots from the dock throughout my 20 or so years of being up there. And easy to go out of bounds, because if you come up short, you're still OB. You go just past it, underneath or near one of those bridges, you can still be out of bounds because of the channel you see that's marked off with the rope. So Andy trying to close out here at Sandy Point. Oh no, and he hits basket and goes out of bounds. That's going to be a tap-in bogey. And what a putt. A putt to save bogey. Thanks for the entertainment, Ross. Ross will officially dip to 23rd with his finish. And the birdie by Matt.
Yeah, you crossed anywhere on that point, I would say. You're good.
And Andy will tap in, but it won't be enough because the fourth card had Dan Schlitter on it, and Dan Schlitter shoots a 10:45 final round, shoots a 13 under, and comes from the fourth card to defend his title. Congratulations to Dan Schlitter. We didn't have fourth card coverage, folks. So Dan is your champion. Andy will finish in second. And congratulations yet again to Dan Schlitter. That's your 2022 Northwoods Open presented by Innova Champion Disc. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed a little taste of northern Wisconsin. Looking forward to any time we can bring you action from Sandy Point, because if I'm not up there playing, at least I can be watching it. We'll see you guys at the next one.